So today on the garage, we're going to be working on the right front shock mount. We had a little accident about mid-season 2 years ago, and we bent our shock mount up. We kind of hammered it back together, but we're going to need to replace this unit as part of wrapping up and finalizing our phase 1 front end project here. We've purchased this new shock mount. It's a piece of billet machine steel here, along with some bolt-on tabs. So that way this is actually a 3-piece unit now instead of it all being one unit. So that way if we want to change where our shock location is, all we have to do is get new plates. We don't have to weld or cut off a new shock mount piece here. So stick around with us. We've got everything taken care of. We've made some pre-measurements. We're going to go over that with everybody before we get cutting anything off. And stick around, and that way you guys can learn how to put your own right front shock mount on in the event that you get in a little fender bender in the future. We measured from this bar back. We also measured the center point of this existing shock mount because our new pieces, this piece is a little bit wider where it goes in. So we were concerned about the center. So we measured the center of this piece to here, and we've got the center of this piece right here. We're going to just line these dots up.
13/16.
Yeah, it's about 13/16 is the center of this bracket right here. That was from inside to inside there. So we've got this new piece here. We're going to be cutting this piece off, grinding it down. We want to make sure that we're really careful when we're grinding because this pipe right here is very thin wall. So we're going to just cut as much of this off as we can with a cutting wheel, and we're going to grind down till we're just barely flush with the surface. We certainly don't want to go down into this pipe. We want to leave as much metal on here as we can, because this is a big, thick, fat piece of metal, and we're going to have to get this pretty hot in order to get our weld to stick really well. So we've got our center point measured up. For our chassis here, for this Master I'm going to measure from this post back to my line, and I am 26.5 inches right on the money to the center of that. So we're 26.5. That's going to be our measurement from forward to back. We also have our center to center. Now there is one additional measurement that we must be concerned with. We know how far back this way we need to be, and we know where we need to be centered for our new piece. But the question now becomes is, do we weld here, 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 here? You know, where do we go in the rotation around the pipe? So we have pulled our old front bar T-bracket here. And we've just got it bolted up here. And what we're going to do is, once we have all this cut off, we're going to take and basically bolt this bracket in there and just set it down, and then we're going to get our centers with our marks, and then we're going to tack this thing in here, and then we should be right where we need to be. We can pull all the plates off and give us plenty of room so we can weld all the way around the exterior of this to ensure that this piece is nice and firmly attached to this upper rail of the chassis. All right, give me a rundown of what you're doing, why you did it, and what you're looking for here.
Okay, I am just fitting this up to see if I got any gaps or anything through there. It doesn't look terrible. It looks worse than what it is because it's got a little bevel on it, but we're getting there. There's a lot of material on there. Looks like we'll have to take down some right through here. So we got our piece mocked in here. Our weld we've ground down pretty good. It meets all the way around. So pretty much we got our lines all together. I just need Sam to shoot it. Not too shabby. Oh, that's a good one there. Ooh. I must say, sir, your welds are looking pretty good.
Got a little slag right there. I should have put them bolts in there before I welded it.
Yep. We'll know better next time.
Yeah.
You always got to mess up before you can remember to do it right the first time.
That's right.
We're good at that.
And I didn't get my weld connected in as well as I wanted to right there, but that's gonna be good enough.
Yeah. See that little bit of slag we're talking about right there. It's alright, we can't be perfect. Can't be perfect. Let's show them what you did. Can you tell what happened here? Pulled the threads. It's not wanting to focus real good.
Show them the hole. You're gonna show the whole world my mess ups. Go ahead.
Yep. Yep.
Do it right.
I'm glad it was you and not me.
We got weld splatter in the threaded holes.
Yep.
I tried to run the bolt in there and hit the weld splatter. It pulled the threads and I took it back out. So we're gonna have to get a tap and go through each one of these holes because I didn't screw the bolts in before I started welding, which I knew better and I should have done that and I didn't. And thus we will now pay the consequences for it.
To be continued.
So we made a fatal error. Not really a fatal error, but we made a mistake when welding the boss onto the frame rail. What I should have done is I should have screwed all of these bolts in to this hole, or if they would fit maybe through the back side here to keep all of the holes completely full before I welded it. And because I didn't, I got splatter inside of the holes. And being trying to get the project done yesterday and wrapping it up, I managed to mess one of the bolts up. So there's what it should look like. There's what it looked like. And this was my fault. I take full responsibility. I tried to drive this bolt into the hole while there was weld splatter in there, and it just totally marred up into the bolt there. It really messed it up. So in order to fix that, I had to go back to the non-late model garage and pick up some special tools. This is a thread restoration tap. It's not a regular tap, it's a special tap designed to fix messed up holes. So it's designed to do this. This is a 5/16 by 18, it looks like. 5/16 by 18. And we're going to run this through every single one of these holes in the boss here. This is the one that's the worst. The rest of them we're going to run through to clean up all the weld splatter. Then we have to touch up along the base here where my welds got a little high, just to make some extra clearance for the plate. The plate's
I don't know if you can see that gap right there, but it won't press tight. It's just got a little booger on it.
And before we run this all the way in there, we're going to apply a little penetrating lube. Everything works better with a little lube, especially when we're cutting threads. So
that's right.
I'm just going to add just a little drop in each hole here.
I just cleaned the floor.
I know. It's not clean no more. No.
Sorry,
And I'm going to run this tap in here, and we're going to clean all these threads up, and then we're going to get it all put back together to show you guys what it looks like when we're done. See, it won't go anymore. That's hand tight. It should run all the way through there, pretty much all on its own. So there's a little bit of weld splatter in there. We're just going to run this through here, and this should clean it up really nicely. Just like that. I'm not going to make sure you don't run it all the way till it's out, otherwise it's hard to bring it back out again. I'm just going to run this through here. I'm going to scratch all the paint up, but we're going to repaint pretty much this whole side of the car anyways. We're finished. Notice how nice and easy it comes out here. We also purchased a little bit longer bolt. We purchased a little bit longer bolt to compensate for the plate when it goes all the way through there. They might be a little bit long. We're going to see. Let's see what it looks like. It's still going to be tight fitting in there, but it should go through just fine now without damaging any more fasteners. Oh,
I'm gonna try to turn this light.
oh, there it is. I got it. Right here.
Yeah, your head is gleaming.
This little piece right here.
Oh yeah, look at that guy.
That's probably part of the bolt.
Yeah,
You know.
that was a good get. There's another piece back in there.
Yeah, it looks like there is some in there still, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. What I see is a lot further back in there.
Call that Bush League error. For those of you that are old enough to remember Bush League. It's going to be a tight fit no matter what because of the damage. We lost the first 1.5 threads of that hole.
Right.
They're probably pretty much gone or not really going to be holding anything anymore. I don't see where there'll be any issues. I definitely don't want to cut this thing back off.
That's some hard steel.
Yes, it is. We can get a little brake cleaner in there and we'll clean it all up real good. But pretty happy with that.
Yeah, we need to buzz a little bit of that weld down.
This is one of those non-power tool type jobs.
Oh yeah.
Because you saw what happened before. You let me on it on my own. And I wasn't even using power tools yesterday, but I sure made a mess of it. And I didn't have the stuff to fix it here. We're going to get her all fixed up today. Wrap this project up and be pretty much done with the front end. Hey, while I'm finished with this last hole, why don't you show me front cross member where we're going to cut it and why we're going to cut it.
So we were told that this little area right in here we can shave off and get a little bit extra here. We'll probably cut about half of this off, and we'll probably have to grind this down a little bit, and then we're going to try and find a lower profile bolt here, or cut the head off this somehow, some way. I don't know, but we're hitting here as well when we're digging. So to give us a little bit extra, we're gonna just, obviously this does not go here, but we're gonna shave a little bit off of this when the time comes.
I don't see any reason why there's an issue with them poking through a little bit.
Nah, not at all. Boom.
Well,
Probably don't even fit. Oh, it's super close. Beater.
this is an LMG hammer. This is exactly how this hole got messed up. So here's what's happening here. If you look down here, the welds down here on the bottom are hitting the boss. And we need to come down just, I mean, a fraction. So we just need to grind down on this a little bit. We'll be in business. We're always live here at LNG.
Stomach shock.
should have thought about my shoes.
Here we've got our finished product. We've got our upper bolt-in support all lined up. Bolt runs through just fine. We just got to use an open-ended wrench to get everything tightened down. No big deal there. Then temporarily installed this. We're going to have to put in a couple spacers right here, which we have, but I wanted to install this in here to kind of explain why we put this mount on here, despite the fact that it got bent up in a previous accident probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. Despite the fact that it was bent up, we wanted to replace this because we were having some issues with our smash numbers, in that we didn't have enough shock travel in the body of our shock before we got into our bump stop that we're allowed to run per our track rules. We were actually getting on the bump too early, and then as we shorted the bump down, we lost, some of our three-inch numbers suffered substantially from that. The potential fix, not really a fix, but a additional crutch that we're adding here is this particular shock mount, the way they've made these plates is from our original mount position. We were down a half an inch and out a half an inch. So it was something kind of like this is where it was. And so we've brought the shock back a half an inch and up a half an inch, and we've pinned it in there. And what we're hoping that's going to do is to give us an extra half an inch of shock body travel, which should assist us in getting our, our load numbers more correct. And as we get the car put back together and we begin to set it up before test and tune time, we'll talk about what our load numbers are and where we're at and where we're going to start the season, and hopefully bring home some checker flags this spring with them. So we'll see what happens. But
Stay tuned. Next episode, we are going to be putting on the 4-bar bracket. And please like and subscribe. And see you in the next episode. Peace.